For your assignment this week, I have a sweet, sweet task. Whether it's making your mouth happy or racist sad, my favorite's Miraka Kirimi, I would like you to tell me everything there is to know about chocolatey, chocolate. I would like to know about every kind of chocolate that there is, except white chocolate, because that's trash.
Oh, a war has just been started, Jen.
Oh.
All right, welcome back, my chocolatey chums. I'm excited to hear what you guys have been away and found out for me in the last 30 minutes about chocolate, although I'm sure you've all got a stack of delicious treats just waiting in your brain pans, ready to be disgorged at a moment's notice.
Brain pads?
So I would like to hear from Kenny.
I would like to take as my starting point the incredible tide of racism that came up due to chocolate here in New Zealand. So in response to the renaming of a milk chocolate,
Not even renaming.
And I mean, if you really can't read it, it's written in small letters in English underneath it anyway.
Not even
And
that small.
I wanted to find the most racist chocolate in the world, and there are a few contenders.
Nazi whisper gold.
Hershey's KKK kisses.
One contender was an Easter chocolate released by Waitrose, where they released 3 ducks, a milk chocolate, a white chocolate, and a dark chocolate duck. They called these ducks in a flurry of advertising: crispy for the milk chocolate, fluffy for the white chocolate, and ugly. Ugly was the dark chocolate. Very quickly do that advertising. That's not the most racist chocolate in the world. I want to do something unheard of in the history of this podcast. Go and look up Conguito's chocolate, which is both chocolate and chocolate-covered peanuts that you can still buy in Spain to this day. And I would like to share with you the magnificence of Conguito.
Oh, Jesus
wow.
Christ. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Oh, wow. Is it doing the fingers?
No, I think it's doing thumbs up. It means little Congolese, so they're not even trying to hide it in Spanish.
Oh, my God.
And I think this, without a doubt, wins the most racist chocolate in the world.
Yeah. So these things are, if you know the term little black sambo, you might know, know this.
More like the chocolate malt right.
Onto our very own little Sambo Smith.
You could trade one chocolate bar for a prostitute.
The term is sex worker.
Yes.
The term is sex worker, but it wasn't back in the Mayan time when this happened. So the Mayans, they used to trade cocoa beans for many things. 10 cocoa beans could get you either a rabbit or a prostitute. And I worked out
Presumably you got to keep the rabbit.
Yeah, I think so. And I worked out that in a standard sort of milk chocolate bar of the day, today, you'd have roughly about 10 cocoa beans throughout that bar, which is the same amount it cost to buy a prostitute, sex worker these days. And back then, if you had 10 chocolate bars or 100 cocoa beans, you could buy yourself either a turkey hen, which I presume is a turkey, or a slave.
I imagine the turkey hen would kind of be a slave, because presumably you're buying the female so that you can get the eggs.
Same with the slaves, I guess.
True. If you have a female slave, you can get more slaves.
I feel like we should maybe move on from the slaves talk.
Tom, I would like to swiftly move along to a chocolatey fact from you, please.
For a brief period of time, Cadbury sold creme eggs.
What is creme?
So this was in the scope of massive controversies. This was a very fun blip on the radar. But so people were like trying to argue about what cream eggs. They call cream eggs CREME eggs, and people are like, how they pronounce. So they on Twitter they messaged. They tagged in Cadbury UK, and Cadbury UK replied with, "They're pronounced creme," and the internet lost its shit, absolutely lost its mind. They're like, "This is not the world that I want to live in. What kind of a world is it when it's called creme and it's clearly cream?" Like, lost their absolute minds, and it turns out that Cadbury had done a typo, and it was supposed to be cream, but they had picked it up.
That's funny.
My favorite thing of the world. I didn't even know they retracted it. Honestly, up until right now, I thought it was still cream egg.
GIFs are meant to be pronounced GIFs, and
no, it's graphical interface.
And Nike shoes are supposed to be Nikes, but it comes from the Greek Nike. So
And I've
it's all
been
wrong.
pronounced Thom this entire time. But you bastards never asked.
But I think GIFs are pronounced GIFs, even though it stands for graphical, because the guy who invented them said that he always thought that they stood for GIF, and he invented them, so he should be able to just.
Andrew
Like...
said
And he's an idiot, and we don't let idiots determine how things are pronounced.
Whenever I think of cream eggs, though, I think of that ad from like the 90s, maybe, of the little kids at school, like stuffing them in their faces under the cover of the school desk. And then the
Yes,
headmaster comes in and like slams the desk down, and they've got egg all over their face, and it's like, don't get caught with egg on your face. So cram eggs would make sense because they're just cramming them in there.
Mm.
As a dentist, that's also the best way to eat them. You want to
Smear them all over your face.
yeah, but if you
Nasally.
are going to eat something sugary and chocolatey, you better eat it all as fast as you can to minimize the contact time with your teeth. So it's dentist approved.
Why not just hook it up to like a nasogastral drip and just put them straight into your stomach without even touching your mouth?
Yeah, I
She's
guess
got
that
it.
would be the
She's
best.
done it.
Yeah.
She's sold chocolate.
Right, Sam, I would like you to ruin some more chocolate for me.
Oh, do you guys know where Toblerone is from?
I do.
Not the Swiss Alps.
It depends when you listen to this, actually. So if you were in 2023 or backwards, yep, Toblerone is Swiss. Congratulations, Swiss chocolate. If you are the end of 2023 and onwards, you might be eating Slovakian Toblerone. Toblerone is moving from being made in Bern in Switzerland, where it's been made since 1908 when the company was founded, and next year it is moving some of its factory to Slovakia.
Which part, though? The chocolate making part or the admin part?
The chocolate making part.
Oh, that's
So
a mistake.
Part of their chocolate is now not going to say Swiss chocolate. It's going to be originally from Switzerland chocolate. And the building that they made the factory was, so all Toblerone used to be made in the same factory in Bern. And then now that it's moved to a different factory, still in Bern, but that original one is now part of the university. And they even call the building Uni Tobler after the guy who made it, which is nice.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
So does that mean that they're going to have to change the logo on the packaging from like Swiss Alps to what's Slovakia famous for? Like lakes?
A really shit
like there are
car.
lakes in Slovakia?
Formerly being Czechoslovakia.
The one that
Yeah.
Melania Trump isn't from.
So when you said where's it from, I was going to say it's from hell. It's the worst chocolate in the world to eat. It's the only chocolate that injures you as you're trying to consume it.
Only
Like,
if you eat it like a crocodile. Only if
Yeah.
you eat it like...
it's awful. It's designed to hurt and maim. It's like a little chocolate caltrop.
You
It
break
looks
the
good.
top off. You break
Kenny,
it
there is
off
no
and
way-
you eat it.
There is no way you're winning this episode, Kitty, after horrible things things like that.
Today we've learned that Kenny tries to eat Toblerone like a duck, just raw dogging it down the throat.
Why is it hurting me?
I like the
Also, can I just point out, all other chocolate causes the world's most prevalent disease, dental caries. All other chocolate is hurting you as well.
Not the roof
Toblerone
of the
surely
mouth.
more so because the nougat makes it stick to your teeth for longer.
Exactly right.
Well,
Contact time. Very good, Jen.
What I love about this, though, is that Kenny continues to eat it this way.
I don't eat it. I learned my lesson. I was 8. And
Just imagining Kenny, didn't you say your kids got you a Toblerone for Father's Day? I'm just imagining you sitting in
With
the
a card
dark
that
in the
says,
choir.
fuck you, Dad.
I refused to eat said Toblerone.
Tom,
For a brief period of time, not actually that brief, about nearly 4 years, you could only get M&Ms if you were part of the military.
Oh.
Mm.
I was
which one of the M stands for military?
The last one. And the first
Oh.
one. It's military.
Military.
candies.
Oh, okay.
They're the candy that makes your
Melts in
knees
your-
weak and arms are heavy and gets vomit on your sweater already.
Mum spaghetti, yeah. It's like candy coated shells. So
This is a
yeah.
war thing, right?
It's the war thing. So the whole thing of M&Ms is they're actually based on originally based on a my understanding is like a Portuguese treat, which was that you would have you'd have your chocolate encased in something so that it would melt while you're traveling. And M&Ms did it with candy. But the same principle applies. So, the candy prevents the chocolate from melting. So it was a really good treat, a really good kind of source of extra calories, that kind of thing, for soldiers, in battle. And so from about 1942 to 1946, they stopped making M&Ms for the general public and actually hit the slogan 100% at war, and all of their M&Ms were being sold to the military.
I read that that one chocolate chip gives you enough energy to walk 150 feet, which isn't
That's
that
good.
long.
Did they have the sexy M&M around during? Because I could imagine that drawn on the front of a few.
She travelled around.
She
Getting,
came later.
getting the boys ramped up for the war effort to second old Mr. Hitler.
There's nothing like a bunch of soldiers running into war with a mouths full of M&Ms and boners at the ready to go. That's what you want.
Kenny.
So we were talking about ways to eat chocolate that were dentally acceptable or useful. And I want to introduce you to the earliest way to use chocolate in a way that is guaranteed not to give you dental caries. So the Mayans were among the first to make use of chocolate, and as well as using it as a beautiful drink, and they thought of it as the food of the gods. And the name of chocolate in Latin, Theobroma, means gift of the gods. So they also used it in religious rites. The way they would do this, and there are vases that you can go and look at in museums that show this, is they would have ceremonial. So they drink lots of water to vomit it all up, and then they'd give themselves chocolate enemas, and they'd get hideously dehydrated, and see visions from the gods. And yeah, it's not likely to rot your teeth. It might cause other problems, and I can't imagine that the vomiting is particularly good for them.
Vomiting's bad for your teeth as well,
The
yeah.
chocolate itself never touches your mouth unless you're really unlucky. So yeah, if you want to commune with the gods, chocolate enemas, everybody.
Oh, I'll tell you what, if you shelve a Toblerone, that'll get lodged up there.
That's why they make it triangular, to stop people. All right.
Tom, I would like another fact from you, please.
One of my favourite things to say is the word Ferrero Rocher, because it's a terrible thing to say, and I'm pretty sure I butcher it every single time. But I'm not going to. This is not a fact about Ferrero. This is a fact about something else that Ferrero make, and that is Nutella. Nutella being one of the world's greatest
Inventions.
chocolate hazelnut spreads. And it is estimated that Ferrero, in conjunction with making Ferrero Nutella, and making Nutella, they consume 25% of the world's hazelnut production.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of hazelnuts. Yeah, it's actually estimated that they basically like massively boosted the market in certain places. Yeah, they make, because Nutella and Ferrero Rocher are like massive products, particularly in places like America. And so yeah, it's estimated they consume 25% of the world's hazelnuts.
Amazing. I know that this is unrelated. I know that to make one almond, it takes 1 million liters of water.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah. Everyone who drinks almond milk is directly responsible for the climate
That's
crisis.
right. And they make most of it in like Southern California for almonds.
Yeah, where they have massive droughts and irrigation issues.
So clever.
Also, to hark back to previous facts around pronunciation, Nutella is actually pronounced Nutella.
What?
Yep.
But it's nuts.
It's supposed to be pronounced Nutella.
Because it's the
but
Nutella.
It's not English.
It's Italian, I guess.
What the fuck is going on?
Nutella. It's one of those things that intellectually I know it's supposed to be pronounced Nutella and Jif, but you will pry Nutella and GIF from my cold dead paws. Sam, I would like another fact from you, please. Not Sam. Kenny.
I'd like to talk to you about Hans Sloan, who is famous for founding the British Museum. So his collections became the basis of not just the British Museum, but also museums elsewhere in the UK.
He made the British Museum by his hands alone, and his name is Hans
Sloan. He stole
Sloan.
most of the stuff.
Hans Sloan, Sloan Square, named after him.
That's actually what he said to the people when he took all their stuff. He said, "This is on Sloan."
So he was a botanist and a doctor. He travelled to Jamaica. So a bit of a hark back to one of our recent episodes. And over there, he found people drinking cocoa, but it wasn't cocoa as we know it. It was very, very bitter, as it had been for ages. Often people would put in chili and things like that. So he mixed it with milk and sugar and invented cocoa as we know it today. He took it back to the UK and he patented it. So here, playing to the crowd, patent law and chocolate. So Jim,
it's a sweet spot.
Sold it as a medicine, became popular as a drink as well. earned lots of money, and then he got tired of earning lots of money, so he sold his patent to Cadbury, who you might have heard of.
Yeah.
And they
Rings a
kept
bell.
on doing things.
Wow.
So that glass and a half of milk logo thing, everything came from Hans Sloan, now more famous for the museum.
Even though he invented chocolate.
They invented milk chocolate, which is sort
Better.
of led to the popularization.
Wow, that's cool.
That's incredible. Right, Sam.
So Kenny was talking about theobromine before, and you were talking about theobroma, which is did you say the Latin term for?
It's the genus name for
The genus
theobromine. Yep.
So there is a toothpaste called Theodent, where the active ingredient is not fluoride, it is theobromine. And this company Theodent have a very flash website that says, check it out, we've got the science that proves that theobromine is more effective at remineralizing tooth enamel than fluoridated toothpaste. And they say they do not use fluoride in their toothpaste, and they're using the power of chocolate to clean teeth. This is utter bullshit. Fluoride is 100% more effective than this thing. You look at all the studies about like whether theobromine is effective at remineralizing teeth, and yeah, it is a bit, but they're like, yeah, this is made of chocolate. Yeah, this is great. This is great. And it's total rubbish, and you shouldn't use it.
Okay, so theobromine's not as good as fluoride, but what if I just ate a really large amount of chocolate?
So it's the sugar we started talking about this. The sugar would get you and kill you, so that would be good.
Damn it.
Oh, and here's another fact. The water at Disneyland, it's got bromine in it instead of chlorine because it kills all the bugs, and then it keeps bromine. Nice, Kitty. Because it kills the bugs, but then you don't have to replenish it. Whereas with chlorine, you have to keep adding in chlorine. It gets used up by the stuff when it
Wait,
dies.
so like you can just recirculate the water and the bromine stays in it?
Yep, that's right, and keeps killing bugs.
So I'm going to cut across you guys with a word from our sponsors. Do you feel sad eating alone? Are you cold between your hips and your knees? Do you want to check your reflexes several times a day and collect inexplicable flesh wounds on a near constant basis? Then you should consider cats. Cats are weird little house goblins who you can feed and love and provide expensive veterinary care for. And in return, they'll ignore you and sometimes stick their bum in your face. These small vibrating fluff gremlins are perfect for tripping you up in the kitchen, biting your hands, staring aggressively at any food you try to eat in your own home, and upstaging you on Zoom calls. Cats, don't touch me, peasant.
Did you hear that, Mr. Whiskers? That one was about you. Thank you for sponsoring our podcast.
Look at him upstaging you on Zoom. Also, fun fact, don't give cats chocolate. They're allergic to it like dogs are.
Most animals are, yeah.
Every time I eat chocolate, I do it as a symbol of my superiority over the majority of the animal kingdom. It's the only reason I do it. True story.
I'm allergic to chocolate because every time I eat it, I have like 5 kilograms of it, and it makes me throw up.
Oh, yeah.
If I got a way of eating it for you.
Kenny, quick, give us a wholesome family fact about chocolate.
Oh God, a wholesome one. They're always out that one. So we're talking about. So yeah, I'll come back to that other one. Switzerland per capita not only makes really nice chocolate, but per capita is the biggest chocolate eaters in the world. So 19.8.
Kitty, I think Americans are the biggest chocolate eaters in the world.
I think the nation
Shout
of
out to our
giants.
American listeners.
The most chocolate per person, about 10 kilos per capita per year.
10
which
kilos?
Isn't too much.
That's
10.
not that much.
19.8 pounds across a year. What's that?
Very little.
By 3.
That's 40 of these bad boys.
I mean,
I eat more chocolate than Switzerland. Good to know. The little Germanic sounding boy in The Simpsons, is it Unter or Gunter? Don't make me run, I'm full of
I come
chocolate.
from the land of chocolate.
Yeah, is he Swiss or German?
He wears lederhosen.
Yeah, he must be
Yeah.
tired.
If he was Swiss, he'd dress only in neutral colours.
That's very true. He is constantly pictured sitting on hordes of stolen Nazi gold. So
It does work.
Sam, a fact from you, please.
Do you guys know where Whitaker's is from?
Porirua.
It's made in Porirua now.
It is.
I
Do
can
you know?
smell it across the village, across the valley.
Wow, that's disgusting.
Yes.
Anyway, an interesting thing is that Whittaker's is a bit like Nathan King from Z, Guy Williams, and myself. It was born in Christchurch. James Henry Whittaker, he was born in England and he moved to Christchurch in 1890. And then in 1896, he started making chocolate and selling it around Christchurch. And then his sons joined him, his sons who are called James and Ronald. They worked together, made chocolate, stayed all in the family for ages. I think still to this day. It moved from Christchurch to Wellington, and it was at 167 Vivian Street was their factory, which is the one that's just opposite that Z petrol station that is right next to the Fringe Bar. So
Back to Z.
back to Z, yes. Oh, very good. But also, I used to be a dentist like 2 blocks away from that where that chocolate factory was, and then now it is in Porirua. What's my point? It's from Christchurch, like all the greats. Me, Guy Williams, Nathan King from Z, and the Mighty Crusaders. Go the boys.
A fact from Tom, please.
I'll give you a nice quick one. Mars created Snickers. Snickers is named after a horse. It's named after the family favorite family horse, which is a great name for a horse. Come on, Snickers. Ooh.
I think Snickers is it was one of my least favorite chocolate bars. Too many
I love
nuts.
Snickers.
Controversial.
That's the thing about chocolate and food. People have different preferences. That's what makes the world a great place. Do you remember how Kenny said he doesn't like Whittaker, he doesn't like Toblerones? So that's mental. I just said that Snickers
That's
is
not
my
correct.
least preferred.
That's fucked up.
I would like some quick fire facts now, and I would like to start with Sam Smith, please.
The author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was born on Chocolate Day. September the 13th is International Chocolate Day.
I also have World Chocolate Day on July the 7th. We also have Milk Chocolate Day, National Milk Chocolate Day on July the 28th. But did you know that there is, of course, on November the 7th, the same birthday as David Guetta, famous DJ, songwriter, and performer, as National Bittersweet Chocolate with Almonds Day. A great day to eat bittersweet chocolate with almonds. And here's some tips for celebrating that day. You could make up some granola for a mid-afternoon snack using chocolate and almonds. Roll up some delicious energy bites with these 2 amazing ingredients, put them in the freezer for a quick and easy craving quencher. Or enjoy them separately. Add bittersweet chocolate to your morning coffee and top your salad with almonds. You might be missing the with, but we won't tell. That's from the National Bittersweet Chocolate with Almonds Day website.
That's the longest fast fact we've ever had, Jen. -1 point for Tom, please.
Aztecs used chocolate as a refreshing drink, we know, but also as an aphrodisiac and for war. If you have chocolate, you can get a sex worker or use it as an aphrodisiac. So you can choose wisely there. Chocolate is truly a gift from the gods.
Chocolate
Wow.
for when you're horny, but also want to kill a dog. This episode brought to you by Whittaker's Chocolate.
I would like to quickly recap on the amazing things that we've learned tonight. From the first round, Sam swapping cocoa for sex, I think, is something that should continue to happen because cocoa's great. Moving swiftly along to Kenny's chocolate enemas for religious purposes, which makes perfect sense. Sam, you actually both won and lost the third round because you introduced me to the concept of chocolate toothpaste and then crushed my dreams by telling me that it's useless and doesn't work. So I'm very cross about that. Tom, I love that Snickers is named after a horse. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard and makes perfect sense. And Kenny, I love that Aztecs used chocolate as an aphrodisiac and a rage potion. I think that's just... It makes sense. Again, it makes sense. But I think my favourite fact of the entire show was Tom's military M&Ms.
There's some military, baby. Thank you very much, Jen. I'm gonna do so in my speech, thank you, and I hope that my round next week isn't sabotaged by 3 decades. Good work, everyone. I'm glad that your facts were not as good as mine.
Thank you so much for joining us on this chocolatey deliciousness. We will see you next week with an equally delectable selection of facts. Like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the podcast. Give us nice reviews. And we will see you next week with our little panty fingers.
Bye, little panty fingers.